Lettuce and Lemons.
Hola.
Hi, this is Hannah.
Hi, Hannah.
Hi.
Okay, so Kelly, you are going to welcome us all, and I guess the cliffhanger is we talked about it in last episode, all about how I went to see Hannah, saw her virtually, and you were like, I want to see Hannah. So you, as well as me, as well as my soul, or I guess not my soul, were not 100% sure, or hundo P, getting all this urban slang in like we weren't 100% sure how it was going to work. So why don't you welcome everybody and let us know that you saw Hannah, spoiler alert.
I was not a believer before speaking with you. I was kind of one of those skeptics, like, childhood trauma, what is that? Like, I didn't dismiss it, maybe a little bit, but I didn't fully understand, I guess, the process. If you could just, give us your background, how you got into this, and then maybe we'll chat about my call with you.
I've known Hannah over
a long time.
Since I was like 14 years old.
Yeah.
Wow.
So Hannah was not always on this path. So tell us what you were doing before, what prompted you to make the shift, what it is you're doing now, because we don't know how to explain it.
Fair enough. I find it kind of challenging as well. But Kelly, I have to say, I think I beat you in terms of my skepticism. I was thinking about this. I have a degree in kinesiology, which is like such a strong science, like physiology background. I have a degree in science in nursing. I have a master's in science in nursing. Like, I came from a very, very strong science background, facts and research. And I thought, I definitely did never ever think I was going to be the one sitting on the hot seat being the woo-woo one. And here I am. So I had my own kind of health journey that wasn't really giving me answers in terms of Western medicine. And so my husband researched a chiropractor. And so I decided to go to a chiropractor, and that was like a huge first step to like go to a chiropractor for treatment. Like, what do you mean? So that was the first step. And then over the past 5 years, it's basically every step along the way, I got someone else mentioned someone else, and I went to see them, and I just got deeper and deeper into the woo-woo, and it just resonated. It just felt like truth to me. It felt like a natural answer to questions that I've kind of had my whole life, or felt like there was something that just didn't seem right. I was a nurse, or I am a nurse. I was doing like bedside, emerge, ICU, fast-paced, total immersion in the Western medical system. And then now, as of September 1st, I am launching officially chakra8wellness.com. And I'm going to be...
We'll put a link down below.
But I also do want to trademark deepinthewoohoo.com. I think there's money to be made there.
Yeah.
OnlyFans.
Oh, yeah,
Deep in the woo-woo.
Down below.
So what I start off explaining to clients who are coming into this work and who aren't believers, or who hasn't ever heard about this before, is about this electromagnetic energy field around our body. So one of my mentors, Dr. Sue, talks about this electromagnetic field, and we all have it. It's basically this toric field that physiology and quantum science talks about. It's this energy field around our body, and there's actually another one surrounding our heart. And so that one is used, if you think about people being hooked up to an EKG, that's using that electromagnetic field around the heart. An EEG, where we're taking brain waves, that's also measuring that electromagnetic field. And Dr. Sue talks about how it's actually this electromagnetic field in utero that creates the nervous system. So it's the premise and basis of the nervous system. So what I'm working with is that electromagnetic field around us, and that is what can impact and change the nervous system. So there's actually rerouting of the nervous system. There's actually now people use the term neuroplasticity. And that's essentially saying that there's change and modification that can be done within the nervous system, within the brain. And they're saying, oh, I don't know how, it's, all these different fancy ways, but this is the way. The way is through energy medicine and changing, manipulating this electromagnetic field around us. Emotions can get stuck in our physical body, and we don't process them because it's too overwhelming at the time, or we don't know how to. And so what this energy work is doing is unstucking the emotions that are in our body.
So can I just jump in here just like sort of like build on that? When we were doing our session and you were like,
all right, I didn't know that was gonna be so loud.
First of all, like because you were like, talking to me or my 5-year-old self, and it was like, I mean, it's emotions I couldn't process because I didn't know they were there. But the minute you started talking and transmitting, I could feel it like in my cells, like in my skin and out the top of my head. Like I felt that. So
cool.
Just when you say, I guess my whole thing is, in the past, I thought this can't be real because I can't see it, but it's also because you don't know. Do you know what I mean? Like, I feel like everybody probably has some sort of buried emotions that they need to, like, they should just do one session just to be like, okay, I feel this. Do you know what I mean? Like, I am a believer now.
Right.
The thing is, that the word, Kelly and I talked about this a little bit. We do talk, not when we're filming, we actually talk for fun. But trauma, the word trauma, especially coming from the ER background, to us feels very traumatic and severe. And we both have really happy childhoods. So we're like, we don't have any trauma. And it doesn't mean trauma in the way that we think
we thought it did.
It doesn't mean we didn't have there was guilt for me about associating my childhood with trauma, because it felt like I was being ungrateful to my parents in a way, if that makes any sense. Yeah. So I think the word trauma trips people up.
Yeah.
I'm not sure I'm deep in the woohoo. I don't know that I like completely abandon all Western medicine. And I don't think you want to do that either, because you're talking about science and, the fact that ECGs and EKGs and all those things, that is very scientific. So this stuff this is sort of a hybrid between Western and Eastern.
I was hesitant myself, so I completely appreciate, and that's why when I meet with people, I don't just start off being like, okay, let's meditate and get to it. For my own background, I have to give that explanation, and there's more that I can get into, but I have to give that explanation because it helped me understand and quantify these things. Also, totally agree. There's a huge place and time for Western medicine. I'm not knocking it by any means. A lot of people who go through some sort of a health issue and have some sort of massive change tend to look back on the issue and say, I'm grateful. And I'm definitely one of those cliche situations where I'm really grateful that Western medicine didn't have the answer, because I totally opened me up to this entire field, and I found a lot of truths that resonated with me. The other thing that I was going to mention is I've done a lot of talk therapy in my life, and I found that there was gaps for me in it. So anyone looking for talk therapy, I like putting the aspect that I'm doing psychotherapy, because it is a bit of talk therapy in terms of, wanting to break patterns that you've been in for your whole life. I'm not trying to basically hypnotize you out of feeling something that happened to you in the past. It's about creating a neutrality in you. So when you think about that, you don't that situation from the past, you don't get a knot in your stomach, you don't get a flutter in your heart. So it's just about changing the story associating with
when I think of it, like, I get your explanation, but the way I would explain it is there are certain, like, I'm a big fan of Lost, and I talk a lot about the Lost backstory. I did not understand a thing about what was happening in the actual island. I didn't get it. But what I loved about that show and what I love about people is figuring out their lost backstory. Who are you and why are you the way you are? Why am I the way I am with food? Why does everybody have these backstories? So when I try to explain it to people, I say, look, Hannah goes back into your backstories and she acknowledges them. They happened, and you just rewrite the narrative. So yeah, it happened. Things happened. And like for me, so much of my life, there's like a knot in the stomach or a pit in my stomach. And I'm just like, that's the way it is. And I'd accepted it to be like, okay, that was a crappy time in my life. You're not at all saying rainbows and butterflies. You didn't have a crappy time. You're saying you had a crappy time, but you've given it enough power up till now. Why would you 20 years later still be allowing it to have that power over you?
So I'm going to even go one step further.
Please do.
Not even just acknowledging that there was trauma or there was a shitty situation or whatever you called it, but actually seeing, I'm gonna sound very cliche, but seeing the gift in the situation, seeing how you benefited from it, seeing how it pushed you to be who you are today. So let's go into the example of a job. So there's a job, didn't work out the way you and your ego mind believes it should have. But if there can be a trust in your soul or infinite self that it's for a greater purpose, then things may fall into place where you look back in 5 years and say, I'm so glad that happened. That pushed me to do X, Y, and Z.
Is it possible, just putting it out there, that sometimes it's really just not fair and that I should have got that job, or you know, you shouldn't have had to deal with everything you dealt with? Is it possible? I'm just saying, is it possible that sometimes it's just because somebody knows somebody, or somebody golfs with somebody, or somebody donates to somebody's board, or is it always a lesson?
So
I think both. I think the answer is both.
I did feel a little bit like you were a drug dealer in the best possible way, in that you're like, your first taste is free, and you cleared me from 13 or 8 to 12 or something, 8 years old. Okay, 13 is when things really got heavy. So now I've got 13 to 39 that I've got to deal with, but the first taste was free. I'm hooked. I get what you're doing. It's a good marketing strategy.
It was not a conscious choice, as marketing is not my background, but maybe I can hire you and you can hire me. We can do a
HireSusie.com.
And to Susie's point, like my situation when we spoke was not, I didn't feel so much of filling of holes, but just a lighter, like I left the whole experience feeling a lot lighter, like whatever that baggage was that I was carrying was no longer there. And I felt very peaceful, very calm, which, I mean, I thought, first of all, I was so excited to talk to you. And I went in with a really positive mindset, but a little piece of me was like, what the, this isn't anything. This isn't going to work. How is it going to work? I don't even know you. I haven't seen you. We don't see each other. But your voice, like everything is so calming, and I was committed and I felt it. And I feel like I know you, even though I don't. And I just,
you now.
I mean, talking about it afterwards, I think I told you, like my daughter now wants to do it because I was just like, she was like, you look totally different. Like, cause my face, I'll, you know, like that's how I would probably describe it. But I was like excited. And
Kelly, in your words, cause you know, I tried to explain it and didn't do a great job. What happened on the call?
I was sitting right here, like just staring at my, you know, blank wall ahead of me. And I just closed my eyes. My hands were on my lap. And I just felt peaceful. Like I can't explain it. My whole, like, cause I carry stuff, which Hannah knows nothing about me. Right. And I've gone for physical massages and they're always like, you carry stuff in your shoulders, like here. And she picked that out immediately. She's like, I feel tension in your shoulders and you're like my left hand. And I'm like, yeah, I feel it. It's like, I don't know. I just immediately felt like she was in the room with me, like that you were, you know, like I know there was no hands on me, but I felt hands on me, which sounds weird.
Thank you for the clarity. Nobody knows what we're talking about. You kept saying
that's part of it. You need to call Hannah and have a session
because
it will explain itself.
My number one thing was I was proud of Hannah. I was like excited for me, but I was more just happy for her. You know, for me, that was my number one feeling coming off that call was, wow, I'm just proud of Hannah. So I think if I can take anything from this, just to say congratulations for you for doing this. You know, I was going to support you regardless because that's what friends do, but now I actually will support you and believe in what you're doing, which is, you know, bonus. So I don't 100% understand it, and I'm being very honest with you, but the way that I tell myself is like, yo, you've got things that are blocking you from your best life, get rid of them, work on them, and move on. One thing that would be interesting to know is what did Stephen think of the session? Because Nathan and Stephen are in the same boat of doubt and what is that word where you just cynicism?
No, he was like you've totally changed your tune, which I had. So yeah. I don't think he's gonna try it anytime
soon. No,
but...
neither is Nathan. You're a Hannah believer. We got to think of a term for that. Woohoo, guru.
The woo-woo guru.
So, Kelly, you said something.
Insta following.
Yes, you said last week that the only constant is change, which terrifies me because I hate change, but here I am. I think that that's a huge part of what's happening with this episode because this is the last time we're going to be filming from my downtown location. The next time we film, we're going to be in Burlington.
So when your soul and your infinite self are aligned, things fall into place a lot easier. And I've seen it happen time and time and time and time and time again, enough to know that it's not a coincidence.
Thank you for being our guest on the last Lettuce and Lemons Truly Downtown versus Farm. Next time will be Woohoo versus Boohoo. And we love you and we appreciate you. And
thanks for inviting me. This was so much fun.
You guys from Burlington, and I'll make sure you guys meet IRL. Okay, bye guys. Love you both.
Bye.
Shout out to Roland.
Bye, Roland.
Hi, Roland.